It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join News Director Paul David and News Editor Philip Catafamo as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics in Yavapai County that affect all our lives. And now here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. As always, it is great to have you in studio today. We're sitting down with Cottonwood City Manager Ron Corbin and Sedona City Manager Karen Osborne. Welcome to studio.
Good morning.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about affordable housing and the lack of it in the Verde Valley, Sedona area. The Verde Valley Housing Study. The Verde Valley Housing Study is for the Verde Valley, and then Sedona has its own Sedona Housing Study.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, so Sedona initiated its housing study, near 2 years ago now. And what very quickly engage the rest of the Verde Valley, understanding that this is a regional problem and regional solutions are going to be involved. So we took the lead. We did a gap analysis for Sedona and a 5-year action plan for affordable housing. And then somewhere, maybe midway through our process, the Verde Valley as a whole initiated their own gap analysis, and they're also working, I believe, on an action plan and strategies for them. Ours was completed in December, and theirs
March, and the action plan we approved yesterday. So we'll be releasing the action plan here in the next few days. But yeah, we joined forces with the county, so they helped support it. So they Sedona put down the big money to bring the consultants in, so we just piggyback off them. And the county and Camp Verde, Clarkdale, Cottonwood, the college, Yavapai College participated and helped out significantly, and then the county areas, and came up with a housing study that showed we need housing.
Yeah, there's a shortage of it, and houses are very expensive right now too. And since I've been doing this show and doing the news here, the one thing I hear the leaders that come in here say is the one goal we want to have is our kids are born here, they go to school here, they may go off to college or something, maybe not, but then come back here to raise their family and start their own lives here. And it's a difficult situation to try to do that for these kids, because it's just, there's nothing available anymore. We were talking about home costs and how they've skyrocketed over the last year. Something I paid less than $200,000 for 8 years ago is now well over $400,000. You were saying Sedona's average is like almost up $1 million.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And just last December, the median sales price was in the $680,000 range. Yeah. 90 days later, it was up over 800, and the latest figure I heard is near $1 million. So, and it's definitely a problem for young families in our community in particular. The school enrollment is shrunk. They closed an elementary school a couple of years back. The short-term rental conversions have really affected the ability for young families to live in Sedona. Short-term
rentals. Now we're talking about I'm going to go stay in Sedona for a few days. I'm going to take this house that's on this street for a few days, and then. That's right. What you're talking about. So, we've had the online rentals. A significant number of homes that were formerly long-term rentals be converted to Airbnbs overnight, little hotels in the midst of neighborhoods, and it's displaced a lot of people. Okay.
The short-term rentals has forced Sedona employees to move to Cottonwood in the county. We found out through the study that over 70% of our residents commute to work outside of Cottonwood. So a lot of people who raise their kids, go to our schools, play in our parks, are actually traveling to Sedona and other places to work. And I blame short-term rentals just as others do. This is the problem. They took those long-term rentals where our employees, whether they be hospitality or otherwise, they used to be able to live, work, and play in their community, which is any community's goal. That creates volunteerism, it gives back. That's gone now, and our state legislatures and the governor's not been able to find a solution that helps protect our communities. So Cottonwood has not as many short-term rentals as Sedona, but now what we're finding is we still don't have enough apartments. We don't have enough short-term rental or long-term rentals for even our own, so we're finding a lot of our employees are now having to move outside of Cottonwood to find a place place to live. There are story after stories, whether it is the new executive director for the Sedona Chamber of Commerce, months in hotels because she couldn't find a place to live. I'm currently looking for a house. I can't find a place. We've had police officers turn down jobs because they haven't been able to find houses here. So what the study did is it showed the numbers. I think 4,000 in the Verde Valley over the next several years is our shortage, and that's affecting our ability. You know, people talk about, you know, worrying about retirees moving to the area or tourists coming here and loving it and staying. That 4,000 is just for workforce. That's our projected number of needed units over the next several years for workforce, for our police officers, our teachers. 4,000 in the Verde Valley is our projected 5-year shortage.
Holy cow. That's a lot. That's a lot of housing, 4,000. And that's assuming everybody wants to live in an apartment complex.
Yeah, short-term rental, single-family residence is our primary house in the Verde Valley, but you're not going to be able to find 4,000 new single-family residents. So whether it's creative solutions with townhomes or condominiums or apartments, we're going to have to figure out a way to make sure that our employees have a place to live.
Yeah, and that situation is even exacerbated further in Sedona city limits because we only have 4% of our entire housing stock is apartments. 87 or so % are single family residential, which right now, you know, are untouchable in terms of rentals or purchase. So a diverse community, a healthy community has diversity in housing, and we don't have diversity of housing. So we really want to pursue these sort of smaller units, different types of housing product, whether that be townhomes or condos or apartments, both for sale and for rent product.
This is really challenging. And back to the short-term rental thing. I know Sedona's tried to eliminate some of the short-term rentals, but it's difficult to tell somebody you can't do that with your house that you bought.
It's not only difficult, it's impossible. The state of Arizona passed legislation a number of years ago that says that cities and towns cannot regulate short-term rentals at all. So we have to be completely hands-off, even if it's hurting our community. And the mayor, our city council, has been very, very active at the legislature the last 5 sessions trying to get bills advanced, and every year they failed.
Because this is not impossible. There are short-term rentals across America, and other cities and states have found ways to find balance so that communities can remain communities, yet business owners and people who want to rent their houses can still do it. So it saddens me that we haven't been able to find a solution to protect our communities. Now, Cottonwood's benefited. We have our schools are not shrinking. Our parks and recreation programs are blooming. Lots of stuff going on in Cottonwood. But I know as a manager, I want the people that work in Cottonwood to be able to live here, go to school here, play here. It means a lot. They give back to the community that way. So the stuff we're trying to do is to provide available living, affordable living in our community. And I think that that's going to be for Sedona employees, some Camp Verde, Clarkdale. When I looked at it, I was surprised. Clarkdale actually had the highest amount of burden. So they had the largest number of people that were burdened by their prices. And just like Sedona, our data is old. And the increase in rent and home purchasing, I think that the current number is about 40% in Cottonwood live where they pay more than 30% of their income to housing, whether that's rental or home ownership. And it was about 40% of our population. I think it was a little higher for Sedona. I would imagine that number is over 50% right now and approaching 60% given the increases. Over the last 3 years, rents have increased by about 10% a year. This year, we're expecting close to a 20% increase in rent. In rent, wow. Let's take our first break. Cottonwood City Manager Ron Corbin and Sedona City Manager Karen Osborne in the studio. Websites for you. There's the cottonwoodaz.gov and sedonaaz.gov. Stick around. Countywide back in just a couple minutes.
Terrifying jobs. Bull Rider, take 2.
Cliff, this seems like a really terrifying job. Why do you do it?
I love protecting the bull riders when they get bucked up.
How big are these bulls?
12 to 2,200 pounds of pure muscle.
You're not cowed by any of this, obviously. Is there anything that scares you?
Yeah. Distracted drivers terrify me.
two things we can count on every year.
A new set of tax rules and great weather here in northern Arizona.
Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, locally owned and operated by Lewis Rice since 1997, is here for you all year long.
Your neighborhood Jackson Hewitt Tax Office will help you in all of your taxing situations.
Electronic filing is always free with your tax preparation at Jackson Hewitt Tax Service.
Get more in return. Call 1-800-234-1040 for an office near you.
The EPA says C&B Construction ranks in the top 1% nationally. C&B Construction invites you to see what energy efficiency and indoor air quality can be. We have won another Department of Energy Innovation Award, and C&B Construction is the only contractor in the country to win 6 consecutive EPA Indoor Air Plus awards. Experience our zero-energy, move-in ready homes at Crossroads at Mingus.
C&B Construction, locally respected, nationally recognized. Find out more at candbhomes.com.
Award-winning Soundbites Grill is an entertainment restaurant located in uptown Sedona at the Hyatt Pinion Point Resort. Open for lunch and dinner, featuring fresh fish, all-natural hand-cut beef, even a full vegan menu. Family-friendly, open 11:30 to 9, late dining on Friday and Saturday. Soundbites Grill has some of the best views of the Sedona Red Rocks. Offers world-class entertainment, food, fun, and music.
Welcome back to Countywide. We're talking about the Verde Valley Housing Study. Sedona has a housing study as well. We're going to talk about one of the solutions Sedona's come up with that they're going to be voting on today during their council meeting. Just some numbers. Verde Valley is forecasted to grow by about 13,000 persons over the next 30 years. This is the newest study, right, that I'm taking these numbers off of, right?
That's correct. That came from the Verde Valley. And remember, that's based on workforce.
Right.
So that he did not take into account any natural growth or expansion or people moving to the area.
This is work growth then, 13,000 workforce people. Okay, employment forecast 4,200 jobs over the next 10 years, so you double that. We're a little over that then. Okay, perfect. Verde Valley is losing population in the age groups from 15 to 59 years of age. As a result, the median age of the population now stands at 52.5. That's me right here, 52.5 years compared to 46.8 years in 2010. Now, Sedona's come up with a plan. I was telling Karen before the show that it's really nice that I've been seeing Sedona and Cottonwood too. You guys come up with an idea, you study it, you get it, and then you do something with it. It's not one of those I used to see years ago where it would come in a binder and then the binder would go up on the shelf and then somebody else 10 years down the road would come by and take that binder off and say, well, we never did anything with this. So it's nice to see that these things are actually being done. But tell us what the Sedona City Council is going to be looking at today. These are options that have come up.
Yeah, so we're really, really excited about this particular project. This is a public-private partnership for 46 apartment units that are fully workforce, 100% workforce, deed restricted, rent subsidized for 50 years. So it's a financial partnership between the private sector and the city, and the 46 units will be rent controlled to target people at 80%, 90%, and 100% of area median income. So that's workforce. That's hospitality sector workforce. That's public sector workforce. And the study that we completed just in December, I mean, to really have a project like this come to fruition, where we're asking council to approve a development agreement within 6 or 7 months of that, to me is really, it's quite extraordinary, and I'm really, really proud of the work that our team has done to bring this project forward.
Yeah, I was looking at it. It's unit type, 1 bedroom. Now, am I right about this? 80% would pay $1,058 for rent. If your income 90%, what is the 80, 90, 100%?
So that's the folks that are the area median income. Okay. Let's say it's $65,000 for a family of 4. If you make 80% of that, your rent would be a certain amount. Okay. And that's based on HUD figures, so they calculate these numbers every year, and it's based on not being, Ron talked about cost burdened at 30% of your income. So it's making sure that people, for their rent and their utilities, do not exceed 30% of their gross income at those various levels. So we'll be trying to find people that are making within those price points, and those are the people who will qualify for this. It is also also going to be 100% workforce. So unless there are extended vacancies, so we want the project, of course, to be occupied 100% of the time or near it. But if there's a waiting list, it has to be workforce. You have to prove that you work within the city to qualify for these, unless there's some extraordinary circumstance where there's units sitting vacant and we don't have any workforce that want them. But I find that really hard to believe that will happen.
Right, yeah. Because what do you say, 70%, 80% of the people in the Verde
Over
Valley?
70% of the Cottonwood residents travel to work outside of Cottonwood.
Okay, all right. Because, yeah, when I was younger, that's what I did. I lived down here, but I would go up and work in Sedona. Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
So this is going to be voted on. The city has kind of worked on ways to put incentives in place to get somebody to come in and want to build this apartment complex. 46 units, you said.
That's right.
Where's it going to be, and when does it get started, if this passes the council, that is?
It is going to be on Sunset Drive, so off of 89A in West Sedona. We have a Walgreens, an office complex, and there's a vacant parcel there, a couple of acres, and it's surrounded by commercial, manufactured homes, and multifamily, so it's real compatible with the surrounding uses. We don't have that many vacant parcels in Sedona that either have the proper zoning. This one is zoned for multifamily. Or that are in the right location to lend themselves well to doing an apartment type project, but this one does. So it really checks all the boxes, and I think it's going to be a great project. The timeline, it is also going to be HUD financed, so that's part of it. That takes a little bit of time, so we're anticipating that in the next year it'll be fully designed, go through development review, we'll get that HUD financing in place, and sometime next fiscal year, so after July 1 of next year, we'll break ground.
Wow, okay, so it's still going to take a little while for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's kind of expected, isn't it? And the city's coming up with $4.2 million?
That's right. It's in the form of a long-term loan.
Okay.
And the city will also benefit from some of the revenue share on the project as well, and we'll use whatever revenue share comes back to reinvest into our affordable housing fund and hopefully do more projects like this.
So does it say when it's 50 years that, okay, if I come in and my rent is this on day one, 50 years from now, it's going to still be the same?
Not at all.
No, okay.
So there are inflationary escalators, and if your salary goes up, so if you do well and you're earning more, within a certain window you can stay, but once you exceed, then your lease will not be renewed, and because we want you to then be able to find something else that's closer in line with market and open those units up for people who need them.
So will people have to reapply each year?
They're 1-year leases,
and
so they will have to re-income qualify every year to make sure that they're serving the target audience for the units.
And Ron, you said there's actually several apartment complexes that are in the works in Cottonwood,
yes.
Is that right?
Yeah, we have a lot coming up. I even forgot to mention before the show, Inspiration Apartments is going to be 92 units. They're expected to break ground this summer across from the hospital off of 89A. Very excited about that. Not rent controlled. So we don't quite have that leverage. I wrote down that number, $4.2 million that Sedona was able to contribute. That's really where cities can make a difference, is helping finance this so that you can have people live, work, and play in your communities. Very excited about that program. In Cottonwood, we actually tonight are talking about zoning. So we have a joint work session between our Planning and Zoning Commission and our City Council to talk about doing things to make sure that we haven't increased costs, that we're flexible, so that when someone wants to put in housing, whether it be townhomes or apartments, that we're open to that. So we're looking at setbacks, we're looking at application fees, we're looking at all those things that make it more difficult for people to build, to make sure that we're a friendly community when it comes to adding workforce housing. There is 40-something units going in, I believe, on our 12th Street. We've got 18 going on 14th Street, I think. So we've got a lot of infill little projects coming along that we're very excited about that will add to the inventory. I'm excited about her project because that means that's 40 families, 42 families.
46.
That might, 46?
Yeah.
That might move from Cottonwood to Sedona, which is awesome because that means I have 46 more available units in Cottonwood. One of the things I'm very excited about is our partnership, the communities working together, knowing that there's no single community that can solve the problem, that we have to work together. We all have our own strengths and our own things that lend well to solving a certain piece of the housing problem.
Sure.
So very excited about that. We are going to be hiring a housing specialist together, Sedona and the city of Cottonwood. And one of the reasons we're doing that is because we believe it's a regional issue with regional solutions. And so I think you're going to see that kind of a partnership continue to grow as we work as one.
All right, it's a high priority. Let's take our second break. Cottonwood City Manager Ron Corbin and Sedona City Manager Karen Osborne in studio. Go to cottonwoodaz.gov or sedonaaz.gov for more information. Stick around. Countywide back in just a couple minutes.
Who doesn't dream of home improvements? Perhaps your kitchen, the real living room. Maybe the bathroom, where you bookend your day. Langstrand Contracting is your one-stop shop from tear down to finishing touches. With 35 years of experience, Chris and his team will work with you to match your family's style and budget. Call Langstrand Contracting today for guidance in bringing your vision to life.
Hi, this is Greg at Verde Solar Power. You know, Arizona has lots of clean, renewable sunshine, and we want to help you take advantage of it with our quality solar installations, and we offer to beat any written offer on a residential solar electric system. So bring us your electric bill and let us show you how solar power will save you money. We're located conveniently here in the Verde Valley and are dedicated to helping the valley go solar. So remember, the energy solution comes up every morning.
Starting in the late 1920s, Grandpa Gettle and his brothers laid the groundwork for what would become a family legacy. Almost 100 years and 100 patents later, Gettle's High Desert Mechanical continues to raise the bar of quality heating, cooling, and plumbing products and services in the Verde Valley.
Call Gettle's High Desert Mechanical Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing at 567-2200 or online at GettlesHDM.com, providing solutions for your comfort. Don't settle, get Gettles.
Welcome back to Countywide. We've got just a couple minutes left of the program. Ron and Karen want to make sure we talk about the down payment assistance program. Who wants to do that, or do you both want to hit it up for about a minute? Okay.
Sure. So one of the things we know about this housing issue is that there's not just one solution. It's not just building units. It's going to be tackling it by the multiple things. Some people want to rent, but some people want to own. So one of the things that Sedona is working on right now, our council just did a work session on it last month, is a partnership with Housing Solutions of Northern Arizona. They're a nonprofit that specializes in all kinds of housing programs. And we are developing a down payment assistance program for any employee who works in the city of Sedona. So that's the criteria. The city would contribute $25,000 towards a down payment and towards closing costs for them to purchase a unit, purchase a home, any type of home. The innovative thing about this for our community is that we realize that it's probably not attainable, even with some assistance, in our city limits.
Sure.
So we've opened up this program to the entire Verde Valley. So as long as you work in Sedona, you qualify, and if you can work with a lender, and Housing Solutions of Northern Arizona helps people. They do housing counseling and help get people ready for home ownership. And if they found a home anywhere in the Verde Valley, they would qualify, and they could purchase that home with our assistance. And it is it's an equity share. So when they eventually sell the home, then the city gets paid back and a piece of the equity, and that way we can use that money to pay it forward for someone else.
Wow, okay. Ron, you got 45 seconds.
Well, I'm very, very excited about that program because there are people who want to buy and start the American dream of owning a home, and that commitment to the community, and it's how they build equity, whether it's long-term retirement or whatever. Having a piece of skin in the game matters. So this isn't free money. This is money that does have to be repaid, and they have to match it. So they have to come to the table with something. And I want to say thank you. I forgot, she's going to be very mad at me. Mary Shaquin, Vivi Rio, they played a huge role in our market study. So shout out to Mary Shaquin over at Vivi Rio. But the fact that our councils are looking at different solutions to solve this problem and working together across borders is, I think, just almost unfathomable, that they would be willing to take these steps and make a difference in workforce housing. All right, that's all we got time for. Ron, thank you. Karen, thank you for coming in today.
Thank you for having us.
That is today's Countywide. Thank you so much for watching, listening. We'll talk to you again next time.